What's good, guys? Lonzo Nation back with another video. It's going to be my MLB The Show 22 franchise mode. And I was debating before I made this video, should I do a rebuilding team? Should I do a team that's the middle of the pack, not really contending, not really rebuilding? Should I do a team like the Dodgers that are not really anywhere near rebuilding, just good right now? And I was debating between two teams. I went ahead and said, you know what? I'm going to do a rebuilding team. And the Pirates and the Orioles, the two teams that came to mind. With the Orioles, I'm already doing a franchise with them. I'm playing 162 games fully of that franchise. And I'll probably do a video of them in a later series. But I went ahead and went with the Pirates. You know, the Pirates aren't very good, as you see right here. They're just not very good. We all know. I mean, they got a few good players. Keep Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds. O'Neal Cruz is coming up soon. I mean, they got guys you can rely on, but they're not ready yet. Like O'Neal Cruz is 23. Obviously, can make him our everyday shortstop, but we could give Kevin Newman the job. But I'm gonna go to the roster real quick, see how we're looking. Maybe go through free agency and sign a couple guys just to help out a little bit. But there's gonna be a lot of guys who are probably gonna get traded. So Zach Thompson, solid pitcher, really our best pitcher. He's a 79 overall, 28 years of age. We got him signed for a while. I mean, he's got a lot of pitches, a cutter, a four-seamer, a knuckle curve, a circle change, and a sinker. Really a guy we can really hopefully count on to really be our ace. And I know he's not really young, but he's still not 30 yet, so he could kind of maybe be a couple years in our rotation, or he could be a guy we flip the deadline for a good package. I mean, we'll see. Then we have Jared Eichhoff. Obviously, he's in the minor leagues, but he's a guy we can call up, be a veteran, have him eat some innings, and then maybe ship him at the deadline, or maybe keep him around for like that veteran. We'll see. J.D. Bruder-Baker, 28, not really nothing special. I mean, he really struggled the last 2 years, you see, with his 2022, 2021 years. But I mean, he could be a guy. He's not a free agent. He's not a free agent until 2026. So I mean, we got him for a few years, but he's not really with the deep potential. He's not really going to develop into much. So really, a lot of these guys are trade chips. Mitch Keller is definitely a guy who could be a long-term piece if he performs well. He's only 25. Obviously, he struggled last year, but I mean, he's having a really, or he's going to have a really bounce back year to really crack this rotation for the long term. And Jose Quintana, obviously, he's a guy just here to eat some innings, that veteran guy. And we'll ship him at the deadline, or if he performs badly, we'll, get rid of him, release him, whatever. And then we go to the minor leagues. Quinn Priester. I mean, obviously, he's a guy who will probably be in the rotation next season if he develops. We'll see. Or maybe he'll be a long relief pitcher to start off his career, kind of like what the Brewers do with a lot of their pitchers. They have them start off in the bullpen and they work their way to the rotation. It's always a good thing to do. He's only 22, so he's going to be a good long-term piece. Or 21, excuse me, but he'll be 22 probably mid-season. Then you kind of look through the rest. I mean, there's a lot of young guys, but I mean, obviously Contreras is a B potential, but not a lot of B potentials here, just C's and D's for the potential. And I mean, it's not really a lot to look forward to pitching-wise. Obviously, that's something we're going to have to focus on in free agency, in the draft, and trades. And then we go to the bullpen. The bullpen's just, I mean, they got some veterans in here, but nobody you really go, man, that's obviously Bednar, but he's the closer. But when it comes to setting him up in this bullpen, it's not looking very good. It's looking like a bunch of guys who are just going to be kind of just temporary pieces. Obviously, you have Heath Hembree, and he's really had a good few years in Boston, as you see. Really, but he struggled the last few years. Pirates obviously took a flyer on him, hoping he can get back to what he was in Boston, but we have him. We have Chris Stratton, who's actually had a few good years. He could be a guy we should have the deadline. Then, I mean, after that, you got 65, 66 D potentials. I mean, it's just looking very bleak. Obviously, we need, like I said, we need to go to free agency, maybe sign a few guys just to be decent bullpen pieces, because we have nobody besides two maybe who could really be solid to set up Bednar in the ninth. As you see, the farm system is just depleted. Really only had one B potential. And then we go to the closer, Bednar. You guys heard me mention him. He's really our main relief pitcher. Now, we could keep him for the long term, or we could get a really good package for him, depending on the year he has. And he's only 27. He's a B potential, 79 overall. He could really be a good piece for us for the future or for a trade, like I said. So, and then we have two other closers. Obviously, Luis Oviedo, he's 22, but he's only a 56 overall. He might develop in a few years, but right now he's nowhere near. Catcher, Roberto Perez, good defensive catcher, solid power. Obviously, he's not a long-term piece for this Pirates team. He's just a guy to kind of be here for the short term to set up for this guy, Henry Davis. He's already 73 overall, A potential. He's only 22. He's going to be ready in a few years. And even maybe this year or next year, he'll be our everyday catcher, depending on if we get a lot of good offers for Perez. But he's definitely a guy that's really going to be a long term piece. Carter Benz, 23, but D potential. And then after that, I mean, it's not really. Obviously, Michael Perez will be our backup for this year, but he's not really anything special. And then we have really just nothing else after that. Then we have first base, Vogelback could be. He's a good hitter, not a good hitter, but good power hitter against righties, but that's pretty much it. He's just not really a good fielder, not a good contact hitter. He's got a good plate discipline, but nothing really to go crazy about. Obviously, he's just a guy to see if we can get maybe a good year out of him, trade him. He's got 2 years of arbitration, but I mean, I don't see us bringing him back. Tsugo, another guy, he's already 30, D potential. He's not going to develop into nothing. Just a guy who's going to be just a bench bat or maybe a DH. And I mean, you look, and it's just nothing really here again. A bunch of D potentials and one C. And then second base, Michael Chavis, he's still young. He's a B potential. He could play first base if we need him to. He could play third base, left field, right field. He's a solid player, obviously. He had a few bad years in Boston. He had one good year, but kind of last year he's kind of struggled. He got traded to the Pirates last year, so they're kind of hoping he can kind of bring some of that power from 2019 back. And then we got Diego Castillo, 24, but he's D potential. Could be a good guy to have off the bench. Hoy Park, another D potential, still young, but Josh Van Meter, utility guy, lefty bat. Nick Gonzalez is really the guy we're going to want to develop. He's already a 69 overall. He's only 22. So he'll probably be ready by next season, maybe the year after that. We'll see how our team's looking. But really just a guy we want to develop. And second base ain't looking as bad as some of the other positions. We have some young players like Cole Tucker and Rodolfo Castro. So it's looking kind of good. And then third base is locked down. Obviously, Brian Hayes is ready to be a star in this league. Obviously, his health's been a concern the last year, but he's ready to go. So we'll see how he develops. And then we go through everybody else. Not nothing crazy, just a bunch of D potentials. And then shortstop, O'Neal Cruz is our future. He's 23, A potential, lefty bat. His stats aren't developed yet. We might make him platoon at the major league level with Newman, have Newman face lefties, him face righties. We might do something like that just to give them both playing time. Bubba Chandler, I mean, he's a C potential, 19 years old. I mean, he's got some potential. He's a two-way player, surprisingly. He's a relief pitcher, secondary position. That's kind of interesting. And then Peguero, Peguero, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but he's 21, 67 overall. He'll develop into something, so that's something to look forward to. Left field, another position, not really looking crazy. I mean, we have Matt Frazier, but he's a C potential, 71, so maybe he'll develop into something. Anthony Alford, I think they got rid of him in real life. I think so, but I mean, he'll be in this one. He'll be our everyday left fielder probably this year. We'll see how he performs. Maybe he'll give us some production. We'll see. And then we have, again, CD potentials. And then we have Brian Reynolds. Obviously, he re-signed with the Pirates, which was a good thing for the Pirates. It's good seeing some guys stick with these teams. Brian Reynolds is a hell of a player. Great contact hitter, solid power hitter, great fielder. He's definitely going to be a long-term piece unless we just get blown away with a trade offer. We got him for another 3 years after this one. Then we have Greg Allen. Obviously, never really been a too impactful of a player. I mean, he's a good fielder, but he's not really anything else. Lonnie White, 19, B potential, so he could be somebody to look out for. Jared Oliva, I think that's how you pronounce it. Oliva, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but D potential, 26. And Swaggerty, he's definitely a guy who could develop. Obviously, he's only 24. He has a 62 overall, but he could develop into something. And then we go to the last row here, right field, Ben Gamble, not really a long-term piece. Connor Scott, somebody to look forward to. So I'm going to go and look for free agents. And obviously, we need to call up Jared Eichhoff. Let's see if there's anybody we can kind of get rid of and kind of get off this roster. I'm going to get rid of Miguel Yajuri. Obviously, he's only 23, but he's only a D potential. We got to get him off the roster. Hopefully, no one picks him up. But we need to get Jared Eichhoff in this rotation just to have somebody to rely on in this rotation. So here we go. His morale is not happy, but I don't even think that matters in this game anymore. So let's go through free agency real quick. Now, there's some good free agents here. Some decent free agents. Now, we go through starting pitching, right? Kim, who pitched for my Cardinals last year, he's 33. Not nothing crazy. He had really a few good years with the Cardinals. Obviously, it's been tough on him with the COVID, and he had to stay in the United States, be away from his family. I see why he went back to Korea. He was really a solid pitcher. He could be somebody we look for. Folty could be somebody we look into. I mean, he's 30, could eat some innings. And, obviously this guy could be somebody we sign. He's only 20, and he could be a guy we really kind of make kind of a minor league pitcher. So we're going to release Omar Cruz. He's only 23, but he's a 56 overall. So we're going to sign Andres Alfonso to a 1-year deal. He'll be a minor league pitcher, and we'll see how it goes. But I think I'll stick with our rotation. Other than him, I might call him up and have him be a starter right away. I don't know yet. We're about to see. But we need some bullpen help, obviously. And there's a few guys we can get rid of, like Sam Howard. He's 29, 63 overall D potential. He's not going to be anything really crazy for our team. We could sign Trevor Rosenthal. He would be a good addition. Trade him at the deadline. We got Pedro Strop, but he's 36. His overall is going to decline. Same with Yasmero Petit. James Hoyt, same thing. Richard Rodriguez, we could bring him back to Pittsburgh, have him be another trade chip again, ship him out. John Curtis, only 28. I think John Curtis would be a good addition to this bullpen, He's only 28, sign him to a 1-year deal. Maybe he'll be really good, and we trade him at the deadline, or maybe he'll be a long-term piece. But really, I ain't going to try to sign too many free agents because I don't want to just go overboard. I'm just signing maybe a few. Catcher, we're good. First base, there's not really anybody that have to have for first base. Second base, I think we got a good amount of. We got Chavis, Park, and Josh Van Meer to kind of hold that down for this year, for now. So we'll be good there. Third base, keep Brian Hayes. We're good. Shortstop, O'Neal Cruz and Kevin Newman got it. Outfield, we could use some improvement, but there's nobody really that I'm looking at that really could fill that role too much better than Anthony Alford. So, I think we'll be good with him for this year. We look at center field. Now, Monty Harrison's only 26. Do we get rid of Greg Allen and bring him in and see if he can kind of resurrect his career here? I think that's a good idea. Greg Allen, obviously we're going to have to pay him $500,000, but let me see if there's anybody in the minor leagues we can get rid of first. But I think Greg Allen's not going to have a future here. So we're going to sign Monty Harrison. We're going to sign him to a 1-year. I'm not going to pay him over $1 million because he hasn't had that. He wants a few years. I'll give him a 2-year, $1.5 million deal. Maybe he'll bounce back. We'll see. And right field, do we sign Conforto? Obviously, he's a free agent. Now, I know you guys think, well, you're rebuilding. Why would you sign Conforto? If he has a good year, we can trade him. Obviously, he's an improvement over Ben Gamble. Same age, but an improvement. And you look at it like that, we could get something good from Michael Conforto, obviously. We might get rid of this guy, Bly Madras. He's 26. He's a D potential. So Michael Conforto, we're going to sign him. Obviously, this might be kind of a lot of money, $6.1 million, but I think it's worth it, honestly, because we're getting a guy who we could trade at the trade deadline, and maybe somebody will want him. So we're going to bring up Michael Conforto to the big leagues. He's going to be our everyday right fielder. And we're going to see how it goes. So, it's not that it's a smart move for the long term because if he has a good year, we'll just trade him at the deadline. He's on a 1-year deal, so it's not going to hurt us. We got a lefty bat. He's got some decent power against righties. He's a solid outfielder. I got him on my other franchise with the Orioles. I had a monster year with them. So we'll see how it goes. But we're going to go ahead and send to the regular season. Each video, I'm probably going to do 2 months. Each month, I'll see how everybody's performing. We'll see how everything's going. But let me get this set up first. We got our rotation. We got Zach Thompson, Eichhoff, Brubaker, Mitch Keller, and Jose Quintana. I don't mind that at all. Our bullpen is just looking, I mean, it is what it is this year. I mean, obviously, I got to call up John Curtis real quick to the major leagues. So he'll be on the major leagues, and I'll send Dwayne Underwood down. I mean, he could go down to the minor leagues. So John Curtis, solid addition to our bullpen. Let me get him set up real quick, make him our setup guy for Bednar. So John Curtis, 28, 1-year deal. Nothing crazy, but he's had a good few years. I'm surprised he's not. If he's not signed in real life, I might be incorrect. But he's had a few good years with the Marlins the last 3 years. I know it's short sample, but I mean, I'm surprised he's not signed. But that's looking good for our pitching. Then our lineup, it's already looking good. We got Brian Hayes in the leadoff. Ben Gamble is a DH against righties. Brian Reynolds, Conforto, Vogelback, Alford, O'Neill Cruz, Michael Chavis. And then against lefties, obviously, I want O'Neill Cruz to play every day, but I kind of want to give Kevin Newman some time just to see if he's, anything to trade the deadline. But I mean, I like our team. I think our team is looking pretty solid. We have a lot of lefties on this team. I didn't realize we have so many lefties, but I like our team. So we're going to send the first month. Hopefully there's no major injuries going. Hopefully there's nothing crazy. Obviously we got scouting as well. And then we have completed transactions, player search. You guys know how it is. Let's see if there's anybody on the waiver wire. Nobody yet. So let's get our scouting. We have some solid scouting, nothing to write home about. So we're going to send him for a pitcher. And we're going to send him for a infielder, fielding, contact guy. And then we're going to send him after another pitcher with movement. And we're going to send him towards the outfielder. So we got that scouting. So here we go. Regular season. I'm going to sim all the way to the end of April. We're going to see how we do here. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to turn off critical situations. Obviously, we make the playoff, which is highly unlikely. I'll play through the games or do the quick manager feature. But really, we got some injuries, but nothing crazy. So we're sitting good, honestly, right now. We're 8-6. We're not playing terrible. And we're in a division with the Brewers and Cardinals. Obviously, the Cubs and Reds are kind of going through a rebuild. But, I mean, we have an opportunity if we play solid to make the playoffs. Now, 14-14 the first month is not bad at all. Obviously, for the Pirates, that's really good. So let's see how everything went. Let me get through this real quick, see how everything goes. So let's see how our team's been performing. Lineup, Brian Hayes. Solid start, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. He walked 9 times. So he's been getting on base. So not a bad start for Brian Hayes. Ben Gamble's having a pretty good start. He only has 1 homer, but he has 14 RBIs. He's hitting .273. He's got a good OPS. So, I mean, solid year for him so far. Brian Reynolds almost hitting 400 with almost a 700 slug. He's having a monster start. First month, obviously, but he's having a great first month. Conforto's having a solid year. 2 homers, 12 RBIs. Nothing to write home about. Vogelback's having a solid. Really, our lineup's looking like it's contributing. He's already got 6 home runs his first month. He's already got more home runs almost than last season, so that's a good sign. Anthony Alford, solid. Not nothing crazy, but I mean he's playing pretty solid. O'Neill Cruz, nothing crazy, but he's hitting .244. Michael Chavis kind of struggling, but he's got 4 home runs, 20 runs batted in. Roberto Perez, kind of struggling, but he's not known for his bat. And then we go to our bench. Kevin Newman having an okay start, almost hitting .260. Michael Perez, not really a hitter. He's hitting .200, but he's a backup. Hoy Park struggling. He's 0 for 8 start off the year. And then Van Meter's playing really well off the bench. So really our hitting has been really solid so far. And now that I think about it, I do think we need to send down a second baseman. He's not playing well. Send him down. Call up another relief pitcher. Dwayne Underwood's playing well. We can call him back up so we have an extra relief hitter. Let's look at the pitching. Zach Thompson struggling, 1-3, ERA almost a 5. Hopefully he can turn that around. Jared Eichhoff playing really well, 1-2, ERA under 4. JD Bruder-Baker, ERA over 5. Hopefully he can turn it around. Mitch Keller, ERA over 5. And Quintana's pitching actually pretty solid, so hopefully that continues. And then we go to the bullpen. Anthony Banda's pitching pretty solid, ERA under 4. Bryce Wilson obviously struggling. Heath Hembry's having a really good start, ERA or ERA of 1.29, under 2. Aaron Fletcher's solid, ERA under 4. Chris Stratton's been lights out. I know he's only pitched 9 innings, ERA under 1. Dwayne Underwood Jr., obviously, we just called him up. John Curtis is struggling, only 4 innings and an ERA almost of 8. And then we have David Bednar, who's had 1 blown save, but he's 6 for 7, and he's only blown 1 save, and he has an ERA almost under 1. So really, the starting pitchers have kind of struggled, but nothing crazy. Let's look at the trade block. Anybody we really see that could really interest us on a rebuilding team. I'm not seeing nothing too crazy. Nobody. I mean, we're not looking for veterans. We're looking for younger. But let me go ahead and upgrade my trade block real quick. So we're going to put Jared Eichhoff on there. Obviously, he's 31. Bruder Baker is going to go on there. And this guy, let's see how he's performing. AAA, 2-1. So he's an ERA under 4. So we're kind of putting a lot of guys on the trade block. Bednar, we'll see if we get any good offers for him. Perez, Vogelback, Kevin Newman, Anthony Alford, and Michael Conforto and Ben Gamble. So we're looking for starting pitching, relief pitching. Could really use a first baseman. Second base, I think we'll find, but we really need a left fielder. And we need probably, I mean, we could look for a shortstop, but we got O'Neal Cruz. But I mean, if we get a solid offer, I guess we'll see what we get. But let's see how the second month goes, and I'll wrap up this video, see how everybody did, and then we'll wrap up episode 1. So let's do it. Let's see how we do. We had a good first month. Let's see if we can keep it up. And Nick Mears, shoulder separation. I think he's in the minor leagues. Orioles are offering us a trade offer. So let's see. Tyler Nevin for Jose Quintana. Now, Nevin, he's a D potential. I know because I played the Orioles a lot. He's having a solid year in the minor leagues. I mean, he's D potential. He's only 24, though, and Quintana's 33. Obviously, the Orioles need pitching as well. That's a tempting trade because Nevin can play a lot of positions. He's 9 years younger than Quintana. So that's a very tempting trade. I'm trying to see who we would call up to take his spot. Obviously, we have some guys that could kind of make their way up. I think we're going to do that trade. Tyler Nevin is a young guy who can kind of develop in the minor leagues. Obviously, we need another starter. Nevin won't be on the major league roster yet, but we need another starter. Now, I know Andres Alfonso's a guy we signed, but we kind of want to give him a little time to develop. So I'm trying to see who we could sign. Obviously, we have Bryce Wilson, who's pitching out of the bullpen. We could give him the starting spot and call up another relief pitcher, maybe Austin Bryce, because he's pitching pretty solid, but he's not on the 40-man. Will Crow is on the 40-man. He's pitching solid in the minor leagues. I'll give him a shot. Why not? So let's see. Will Crow, I'll move into the bullpen, long relief. I'll put Bryce Wilson in the starting rotation. I know he has ERA, like I said, is kind of pretty bad, but our whole rotation is pretty bad, honestly. So we make our first trade. So I mean, it's a good start. We see some guys on the waiver wire, nothing special, but let's go ahead and finish this month. See if we get any more trade offers, and let's see what we can do here. So we're going through. Michael Perez out a few days. We'll keep him active. Will Crow's out a few days. We'll keep him active. No long-term injury, just kind of a short-term injury we can get by. Blue Jays are interested in the trade offers. So Trevor Richards, he's only 28. He's having a pretty bad start to the season. For Kevin Newman, our shortstop, who's kind of been struggling. We do need some bullpen help. It would help us out. And we give O'Neal Cruz the everyday nod. And our bullpen has been pretty solid, actually. It's actually been pretty solid of a bullpen. But I think we're going to do this trade as well. I know it's a lot of trades early, but these trades benefit our team for the long term. So we're going to send down Dwayne Underwood Jr. Obviously, he's struggling really bad. And we need to call up somebody else. Now, I might move one of these guys to shortstop because we don't have a lot of shortstops in our system. And it's kind of looking like we got way too many second base. So I want to move him to second base or shortstop. and see. I know that kind of hurts his overall a little bit, but we need to call up somebody to the major leagues that can. I mean, Tyler Nevin might be that guy we call up just to give him some at bats. So now we got to go fix our lineup. O'Neal Cruz, our everyday shortstop now. He's getting the opportunity to play every day. We're going to move him up a little bit in the lineup. Obviously, he's seventh, so we're going to keep him in that seventh spot. He's kind of struggling, but he's young. We're going to give him all the time he needs to develop this year and see what he's made of. Tyler Nevin could be a bench guy. Solid addition to our bench. A right-handed bat, which we needed off the bench. A lot of lefties. So we'll see how that goes. And then Trevor Richards, we'll move him to our middle relief. Hopefully he can get it together. He's only 28. He's got 2 more years after this till free agency. So that's not a bad, trade for us. And we're about to finish the month. O'Neal Cruz, though, out 2 weeks. That is a stinger. And we now need to call up somebody else to the major leagues. And we might call this guy back up. He's only a 6'8" overall, but he could probably play some shortstop. So now we got to figure out who's going to play shortstop while he's out. Hoy Park, obviously he could play shortstop. We'll move him down the lineup. I mean, it's nothing crazy taking over for him, but I mean, Hoy Park, we'll give him an opportunity here to kind of see what we got. It's not nothing crazy, but I mean, it's only a 2-week period without O'Neal Cruz. And we get a trade offer to end the month. Jeffrey Springs for John Curtis. Now, I don't see that being a good trade. Obviously, he's having a really good year, though. An ERA of 1.33. That is really good. And John Curtis has struggled. I don't know. That's a tempting trade, but I'm going to decline. I know that's crazy to decline that, but I don't know. I trust John Curtis will bounce back and make something happen in this season. So let's check out how everybody did before I end this video. Ke'Bryan Hayes, having a solid year. The power's not there yet with Ke'Bryan Hayes, but it's getting there. You see his stats are going up. He's 82 overall. He's batting .255, which is around what he was batting last year. Still only about to hit June, so obviously he could still turn around with the power and the average. Not bad, though. Ben Gamel, solid. Not much power, but solid. I can't complain. Brian Reynolds is having a solid year. 10 home runs, batting over 300. He's already walked 35 times. He's having a great year. No complaints. And slugging over 600. Come on. Michael Conforto is having a pretty solid year. I mean, he has 7 home runs. He's got 25 ribbies. He's walked 19 times. He's batting .265. I mean, nothing really crazy, but not a bad year for a free agent signing. Vogelback has 10 homers. Most homers he's had in 2 seasons. He's having a pretty solid year so far. Anthony Alford's having a pretty solid year. He's batting .272, 5 homers, 16 runs batted. Nothing crazy, but he's producing. Michael Chavis, not a terrible year. I mean, our lineup's not that bad. Hoy Park, obviously, he's struggling. Roberto Perez is struggling. And then Tyler Nevin struggling. Our bench ain't nothing crazy. Van Meter's having a solid year, though. So that's how everybody's doing the first 2 months in our lineup. Then we go to the pitching side. Zach Thompson, 2-5, ERA over 4. Nothing really crazy, but he's giving us innings. That's what we need. So hopefully he can keep that up. Jared Eichhoff, 1-5, but his ERA is over 4, but it's not terrible. I mean, he's giving us, like I said, innings. So it's nothing. It's expected that we're going to struggle, but they're not struggling as bad as I thought. Bruder Baker, his ERA went down a little bit. He's 4-4. Maybe he could start throwing the ball better in June. Mitch Keller has obviously struggled really bad. We might have to move him to the bullpen or possibly send him down. He's developing, but he's also struggling. And Bryce Wilson, he's a 5th starter. I will take an ERA of that for a 5th starter. And then we go to the bullpen. Anthony Banda, ERA over 5. He's giving us innings, but ERA over 5. Will Crow's been really good. Maybe I move him to the rotation and move Keller to the bullpen. We'll see how that goes later on in the season. Heath Hembry's having a monster year. Definitely could be a good trade candidate. Aaron Fletcher's having a solid year. ERA under 3. Chris Stratton's struggling. He started off the season well, but he's really struggling. Trevor Richards struggling. John Curtis struggling. And David Bednar is 11 for 12 in saves. So really a good start for him. So hopefully you guys enjoy.